So I recently came back from a 10-day trip to Brittany, France. And with this video, I wanted to take the opportunity to share 5 tips, which is basically a couple of principles, a couple of techniques that I've picked up over the years during my travels doing photography. And hopefully it can inspire you guys, or at least think a bit about your own travel photography. Okay, tip number 1, maybe a bit counterintuitive, but I think it's an important one to start off with, and that is observe more. It's basically don't experience life through a viewfinder, especially in the EVF one. I think we have too much screen time as it is. So instead try to, when you get to a new location, to a new city or a new country, primarily focus on getting a feel for the place. What are the people like? What are they doing? See what birds or different types of animals are doing. Is it a very sunny day? See where shadows fall. Is there any specific compositions that you can use with geometric shapes, for example, people falling in and out of shadows, things like that. Is it raining? Are people using umbrellas? Are they using different types of ways to protect them from the rain? That can oftentimes also lead to quite some interesting stuff. Try to create memories by experiencing a place, getting memories in your head, and then using photography as a complement to that in order to facilitate bringing back those memories later on. Okay, for tip number 2, I would say try to minimize your kit. This is one of the main reasons why I also switched to the Leica M system a couple of years back. It was to get this full frame, light, nimble kit. Why? You just want something that doesn't weigh you down. Back in the day when I had a full kit of Nikon gear, I had different zoom lenses, a couple of primes. I had basically a very heavy backpack that I tried to bring along everywhere I went. What it often led to is me wasting time debating in my head, like, okay, for a certain location, for a specific composition or a scene, what lens am I going to use? And oftentimes you start to overthink a situation, you spend too much time on it, and sometimes you even lose or miss certain shots because you're just taking a little bit too much time, or your kit is so heavy that you don't bother taking out your camera and taking the actual picture. Go for one body, one lens. If you can't settle on a lens, you can go for one zoom lens, of course. Me personally, I've gone to the short strap method, where I just let the camera hang around my neck, making it very easily accessible, so I can observe with my eyes, and as soon as I see a composition, it's a very fast and convenient action to bring the camera to my eye and go for the shot. Okay, for tip number 3, I think William Eggleston summarized it perfectly.
I do have a personal discipline. I've only taken one picture of one thing, not two.
It's basically the idea of not overshooting a certain scene. Oftentimes, one of the pitfalls you can fall into, especially with digital photography, is that we overshoot a scene, just taking too many frames of the same composition, and then afterwards it takes us a lot of time in post-processing to start to choose in between frames, like, okay, which one do I like best? So don't create too many similar photographs. Instead, go for variations and save yourself some time in post-processing. Okay, for tip number 4, this is basically try to bring some variation in your shots. What do I mean by that is, in order to facilitate the storytelling in your photo sets, it's quite a good practice to mix up the compositions, going for a wide shot, for example, as an establishing shot, and then using medium and telephoto to zoom in on a couple of details. In isolation, they aren't the best shots, but if you look at them in a set, in a photo set, they can really enhance the storytelling capabilities of that particular set. And then last but certainly not least, tip number 5 is take portraits. When I say take portraits, I don't mean the typical please stand in front of a famous landmark, blocking half of the frame in a way, and just stand there as a proof of existence, but instead go for portraits that put your family and friends in flattering lights or in interesting lighting, or try and do some street photography, for example. Try to capture a couple of people that you meet or encounter during your travels that really complement the scene or the location itself. I think it's good fun to do so, and oftentimes it can create some interesting compositions, interesting stuff that you typically might not get. But they can really make a travel photo set complete and help you tell the full story of your travels. And photography-wise, it's good fun as well. So I think it's a win-win in that regard.